Hi children, welcome to the chemistry class standard 10. Here and now we are discussing about displacement reaction. Displacement reaction is a reaction in which one metal displaces another metal from its salt solution. That is a displacement. When we discuss about displacement, so many displacements are taking place around us. That is, sometimes one person is transferred to another office. That place is occupied by some other person. That is a displacement. That we can say. That is, in the class also, certain positions are allocated for certain children, and sometimes they may be displaced by some other children. And naturally that is taking place in classroom situations. Similarly, here also, when we take an iron nail, this is an iron nail, it is kept inside a copper sulfate solution. Copper sulfate solution is blue in color. Copper sulfate solution is blue in color. And when we place iron nail in copper sulfate solution, after 1 hour or 2 hours, we can see that there will be a brown deposit of copper over the iron nail. Iron nail is having white color, and that white iron nail is getting coated with copper. What is the reason for that? That is the displacement reaction. Here, iron being more active, more reactive, it displaces copper. It displaces copper from copper sulfate. Copper sulfate solution, in that copper sulfate, the position of copper is displaced by iron. That is why this is called a displacement reaction. Here, iron displaces copper from copper sulfate solution, and it is changed into iron sulfate or ferrous sulfate, we can say. This ferrous sulfate is green in color. So that's a light green, beautiful appearance. Then you know that copper sulfate is already having a very blue appearance, very pleasant to see that. Copper sulfate blue is very famous among our, when we talk about textiles like that, we will say that copper sulfate blue is better. In that way we will communicate to each other. That is, this blue color is copper sulfate blue is very beautiful and pleasant also. And this color gradually changes when iron displaces copper. This copper is removed from this position and it is going out. That is, displaces. It pushes the copper out. That is, the copper is being pushed by iron. Iron pushes the copper out. That is, iron displaces the copper. This is a displacement reaction. Iron takes the place of copper. That is why it is called a displacement reaction. Then here copper sulfate blue is the color of the solution, and iron nail, when placed, we can see that after some time there is a brown coating over the iron nail. Iron nail is actually white, silvery white in color. That gradually turn into a brown coating is formed over the iron nail. That is because of the displacement reaction. This copper is coming out, and that is getting deposited over the iron nail. That is gradually it is changing into brown nail. Then that iron here present, that iron will go into the solution, and gradually the copper sulfate blue color is changing into the green solution. It will change into green ferrous sulfate solution. So what is the change taking place here? Such type of question is usually asked for the examination. That is, they will give a situation like this. That is, when we place iron nail in copper sulfate solution, what is the change that you observe? That is the question usually asked for the examination. So you have to write, there is a change in the color of the copper sulfate solution. The blue color gradually change into greenish appearance. That is because of the displacement of the iron, that is copper by iron. What is the reason for this displacement? That may be a sub-question added to this. That is, iron is more reactive. In the electrochemical series, that is, the metals are arranged in the decreasing order of their reactivity. Iron is above copper. So usually a more reactive metal is iron. Iron, that is in that series, the position of iron is above copper. That is, iron is more reactive. That more reactive iron takes the place of copper, displaces copper. That is that word is we use for describing this type of reaction. Another example for displacement reaction is copper sulfate solution. Take copper sulfate blue solution, and in that you place zinc rod or zinc sheet. Zinc, small strip of zinc. We can place zinc in copper sulfate solution. Copper sulfate is blue. When we place zinc in it, zinc is more reactive. That is, as explained earlier, that is, when we arrange the metal in the decreasing order of their reactivity, the position of zinc is above, because zinc is more reactive than copper. The position of copper is below. Then the more reactive metal will displace the less reactive metal from its salt solution. Such a reaction is called a displacement reaction. Here also, zinc being more reactive, it displaces copper from copper sulfate solution. It displaces copper from this copper sulfate solution. Therefore, gradually the solution becomes zinc sulfate, and all the copper from the copper sulfate solution is being deposited over the rod as brown coating. So the zinc rod gradually get a brownish coating. That is, the copper is deposited. So when zinc is placed in copper sulfate blue solution, gradually the blue solution turn into a colorless solution, because zinc sulfate is having no color. It is a colorless salt. So that is a colorless solution. Here it is changed into zinc sulfate, and copper, which has already come out of the copper sulfate solution, that is getting deposited over the zinc strip that is placed inside the copper sulfate solution. That is the change taking place here. So what is a displacement reaction? A displacement reaction is a chemical reaction in which a more reactive metal displaces a less reactive metal from its salt solution. Such reactions are called displacement reactions. Here we have discussed two reactions of this type, and you can have a number of reactions, and you can try out. You can write down such equations, and you can practice also. We can have the fourth type of reaction. We have already discussed 4 types of chemical reaction that we see in chemistry. That is, mainly they are combination reaction, decomposition reaction, displacement reaction, and the fourth type is double displacement reaction. That is, for that take a test tube and add sodium sulfate solution in it. It is a colorless solution. And when we add barium chloride solution, that is also colorless solution. When we just mix the two, we can see that there is a white precipitate in this. That is a curd-like white precipitate is formed. White precipitate of barium sulfate, a heavy white precipitate, that is formed here. That is because of these two, when react, they exchange their partners. It is also a partner exchange reaction or double displacement reaction. This chloride ion going along with the sodium, and this sulfate ion is going along with the barium. That is why it is a partner exchange reaction, or it is a double decomposition reaction. Both of the substances, they exchange the ions present with them, and that is because of that we are getting sodium chloride and barium sulfate as two products. So this is a white precipitate. Barium sulfate is a white precipitate. What is a precipitate? Precipitate is a word usually used in chemistry when we conduct experiments in laboratories. When we conduct experiments, that is, in order to understand some product is formed during a reaction, the precipitate formation helps us. The precipitate is a new word, something that you may not be familiar with, I think. That is, the precipitate means that is insoluble substance, a curd-like, we can say like that. A curd, it's like a curd. That is precipitate, insoluble substance formed during the reaction. That is, here the barium sulfate is insoluble and it goes down due to gravity. It goes down in the bottom of the test tube. That is, in the test tube, when we conduct the reaction, immediately when a precipitate is formed, it is going down and deposit at the top, at the bottom of the test tube, because due to gravity it is heavier and this is solid also, and it is a white precipitate. Precipitate means something which is insoluble, that is the meaning. It is not soluble in that, and along with that sodium chloride solution is also formed. This precipitate is barium sulfate, and along with that in the solution form we can have the sodium chloride solution also, that will be above the precipitate. It will be along with the precipitate, and we can, if you want to separate the two, you can filter this out. That is the method used. This is the double decomposition reaction. This is the fourth type of reaction that you have to study, and then similar types of examples we can have from our different types of chemical equations. We can identify what type of reaction. When we list out so many equations, the chemical equations, then we can identify which type is combination reaction and which type is displacement reaction and which one is double displacement reaction. Then you may have a question like this, that is, you will get a series of equations and you have to list out which one is or you have to name the type of reaction, each one, which one is decomposition, which one is combination, and which is double displacement and which is displacement. Like that you have to list out. So these are the different types of chemical reaction that we see under the chemical reaction, various types of chemical reaction. So you can have a number of questions from this portion, and I have mentioned most probably the type of reaction asking from this topic. Here, what are the different type of changes that is during a reaction? Most of the questions are of this type, that is, what is the change taking place, what is the color change taking place. This is the type of questions that you are getting from this portion, and you may be asked to write the equation of that chemical reaction, and you have to write the equation and you have to balance also. Here we have already balanced. Here 2 chlorine, here 2 sodium. That is why we put 2 here. That is in front of NaCl. We have put 2 here. That is in order to balance. So balancing the equation is important. In all these 4 sections, balancing the equation is important, and the color changes I have mentioned in different types of reaction, different color changes, and what is the reason for the color change. All these things we have discussed already. So you go through all these examples and you will get a number of questions from this topic, and try maximum balancing the equations. You try the maximum examples. That is all from this topic today, and we will see in the next video. Thank you. Hari Om.